Hello Garden Group, it's Danielle. I am the fitness coordinator at Sun City Lincoln Hills. I'm also a physical therapy assistant and have been for about 11 years now. And I enjoy gardening as well. I don't have quite as much as I'd like, but someday I'll have more. But you're in my front yard, welcome. Sorry we can't meet face to face in person, but this will have to do. But once things settle down, come visit me, Sun City, and ask questions, and you know, we can reconvene whenever we can. Anyways, let's get going. So I've been weeding and I can't get up, huh? So not just weeding, but gardening in general, right? Pots and in the ground and bending over, up and down and up and down, and all that repetitive movement is what can make us feel really stiff and achy and sore and hurt. Like we don't want to feel like we're damaging anything, like our back, things like that. So remember how hard weeding and gardening can be in your body. And there are a lot of different things that we can do to help be stronger for the activity, right? So exercises and strength training and stretches to do for the activity, but also things that we can do right after the activity to help with the soreness and the stiffness and the cramping and the overuse injuries so that we can prevent injuries, so we don't hurt ourselves. So things you need to be doing afterwards to lengthen the muscles and stretch yourself out so you don't hurt anything. Also, warm-ups and stretches you should be doing right before you do the activity so that you're warmed up and ready to go. So you have movement and flexibility in all the right places to get into some of the positions and do some of the things that you really need to be doing to be a little bit more safe and a little bit more cautious and aware of how you're performing the activity. So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. You'll probably get the handout on the link and get to see the handout, which is a lot of the things we're gonna cover in the video, but really it breaks it down. You know, there's the warm-ups and stretches to do before, and then there are the think smarter, not harder things to be aware of during for the actual activity. There's ways to do it and not to do it that could be better, you know, or worse for you. So just little pieces of advice and little tidbits and tricks and things to think about that really doesn't even relate to exercise. It's maybe just body mechanics and how you're setting yourself up for the different positions that you need to be in. And then of course finally the stretches after, because it's really important when you work your muscles in any activity to do the right stretches after. And I'm not talking about exercises, I'm talking about the stretches, the things where you're lengthening the muscle and holding it for like 30 seconds to help alleviate the pressure on it and to help with the tendonitis type of injuries and things like plantar fasciitis and you know, tennis elbow and golfer's elbow, which isn't just from tennis or golf. You can get it from just gripping the spade and the shovel and things like that from weeding and gardening. All those repetitive movements that can cramp up the muscles. They need to be stretched after so they don't cramp up. Or even during. You'll read in my little blurb, if you're starting to cramp up, you need to take a break and you need to stretch even throughout the activity that you're doing to get the pressure off that muscle and lengthen it back out so it's not so cramped. And then of course the stretches after, like we just talked about, very important for prolonging, you know, this and making it so you have some endurance and you can keep doing it, longevity, and keep it safe and healthy into the future. Then finally, stuff that you can do in between days. So there are exercises and things that you can do in between when you're not actually weeding or gardening to help you stay strong for the activities you like to do. It complements each other. So things to make the muscles kind of, you know, work and stay active and get stronger so you can feel like you can weed and garden more easily. So, a lot of information there, but let's get started. Let's go through the beginning of maybe some things that you might want to keep handy while you're doing your activity. I have a towel or a knee pad or something that you could kneel down on. So you can get into some different positions to save your back and avoid too much twisting and reaching. This position, if you can get into it, you know, eventually, is going to be a good one to save you. Also switching and not being in one position for too long. So consider having a knee pad or a towel or something handy for some of the time, not all the time, but some of the time. Maybe some sort of a bench or a stool, any size, you know, if you want to be a little bit higher or little, you pick what size, you know, bench or stool. A lot of the times you can find these specific for weeding and gardening, right? They have handles on them for balance and they're more sturdy. So you pick what you like. Maybe an assistive device for balance, a cane or a stick or something around so that you're not too worried about your balance, or you have help getting up and down if you're doing stuff up and down. Obviously, most of it is, because I don't think you have all of your pots and flowers at perfect shoulder height or you know, at the perfect level for your ergonomics and your body mechanics. So you probably will be having to kind of get down or get low. So you might want to have a little something to help you, right? With a little stability and leverage, that could be good. So get as much as you can or that you have that you need, and even maybe a chair or a bench, because this is kind of low. You don't have to be this low. But the first thing you really want to do is get comfortable hinging from the hips and the waist. Okay, so one of your first activities before you even do the warm-up stretches is to get your blood flowing, get your blood pumping in your joints so that you can be a little bit more flexible and not feel cold or stiff. So a little basic sit to stand, right? Remember, you don't have to be so low. You can be up on a little bit higher chair or bench. But you really want to squeeze your booty right here when you stand up and have good posture all the way up, and then slowly lower yourself down and really practice sticking your butt out. That's going to be really important, that you get the feel of really sticking your butt out, because that is how you save your back. When you're bending and crouching, you have to stick your butt out. If you don't, you start curving at your back, and that's what starts making your back feel sore and damaged and hurting. Or you also don't want your knees to go too far forward, because that's going to start hurting your knees. So you really, I want you to start getting comfortable with this sticking your butt out, even though it's not very ladylike, I know. That's how you use your big muscles, like your glutes and your quads and your hamstrings and your core and all those big muscle groups that's going to help you support your joints properly and support your back properly, so the muscles take the pressure off of the joints, okay? So really get comfortable with that. You can either do full sit to stands, or you can do little butt touches if it's not too low. Maybe about 10 times, and really stick your booty out. You can be hips distance apart. You could also be in a wide stance. If you're in a wide stance, you can angle your toes out a little bit and just make sure your knees go out a little bit in line with your toes. But what's the bottom line? Stick your booty out. All right, now that you're kind of warmed up, you got some blood flow, you got some warmth in those joints, let's do some stretches. And I would probably go in this order. We got to get the hamstrings underneath, because that's very easily a spot that cramps up on you, and it's good to start with. So make sure you're in a safe spot where you can hold on to something for balance and the right height to prop your foot up on. And then you're just going to slowly hinge and tilt forward till you feel that stretch in the backside of your whole leg. Once you feel that stretch at like a happy medium, you're going to hold for 30 seconds on each leg. You got it. Really try to make sure you're holding for 30 seconds, all right? Don't cheat yourself. Don't cut yourself short. You need that flexibility to get into some of these positions, and also that flexibility to avoid cramping and injuries later on. Then the next one you can do is the quad stretch. So again, find a good spot to hold on to, or use your assistive device for balance, because this is not a balance challenge, but try to find a good level of somewhere where you can put your foot up right behind you, so that you're feeling the stretch in the front of your quad and even the front of your hip. Kind of scoot it back, get up tall, work on your posture. Again, 30 seconds on each leg, each side. All right, you got it. line it up, line it up. Okay, next one on the list is a calf stretch. So you can find a little wall or a little support to hold on to. Put one foot forward, one foot pretty far back, and that back foot is the one you're really interested in stretching. So keep both feet flat on the floor, keep that foot flat on the floor, keep your heel down, and just do a little hinge forward till you feel the stretch in your calf, Achilles tendon, and backside of the lower leg. Remember, that is a place that gets easily cramped up and can cause shin splints and plantar fasciitis. And that's also a spot we need a lot of flexibility for getting up and down or down into a lunge position. 30 seconds, boom, boom, on each side. This leg can just slightly bend and hinge forward into that stretch. Try not to do too much bouncing because you really don't want to rip a tendon off the bone, okay? You want to preserve that Achilles tendon. You don't want any fraying or tearing of the tendon off the bone. So just be smooth and controlled into it and then ease out of it. Another good one to do in the beginning here is your posture stretch. All right, find a safe wall or a corner or something you can prop up one arm, one hand onto, and then just split your feet apart. It's always good to have a split stance so you don't strain your back, and start to slowly rotate your body away from the arm you're stretching. So you feel a stretch in the front of your shoulder, the front of your chest and pecs, and you really open up with good posture. A lot of the stuff we do in gardening and weeding, not just in gardening and weeding, but everyday life, everything we do, is so hunched over. We're so forward and driving and eating and reading and everything's here. So we really need to do the opposite. We need to open up. So the other side for 30 seconds. Remember, get your feet in a good split stance position, placed well, using your leg muscles for support so you're not straining your back. And just slowly turn away from that arm and that stretch. Be gentle on your shoulders. You don't need to wrench them. But yes, you are looking for this open chest, open posture position. Sometimes I like to do just one side at a time and not do both in a doorway because it's a little bit easier to control and not so aggressive on both of your shoulders. You don't want to pin them back. Anyways, those are all good stretches to start with. So now you're raring to go and ready to do your gardening, okay? Well, let's take this pot here, for example. If you are working down on the ground, we gotta find a position that you can do, right? So use your pads here, and you can get down on one knee safely. Use your assistive devices for balance if you need to. Slowly lower down. Get that other foot pretty far forward. Make sure your surrounding area is the way you want it. Position everything strategically so that you can work easier. Use good body mechanics to maneuver and move things around, or delegate and ask somebody to help you. Gardener, handyman, son, grandkid, even husband maybe if you don't want to hurt him though, to strategically have it really be planned out of where you have things so you can easily work on them and have them be easily accessible. So you have one foot really far forward, you got your knee down, now you can work a little bit down here. Maybe you start to get tired on one side because you don't want to be in one position for too long. You can switch, get that other knee down, hold on for balance, get that other foot pretty far forward so that you're right up here, real close, working on things. Maybe you can't get all the way down to the ground, so you can do this wide stance position that we practiced earlier, this wide stance into the squat. And you can kind of use your elbows for leverage, do what needs to be done so there's less pressure and stress on your back, and then come up and take a break. Maybe you get your chair nearby and you strategically place that chair in a good spot, do what needs to be done, then move on. But take breaks, okay? You don't want to be in one position for too long. So just plan out, okay, I'm going to do this one pot, weed it, whatever, and then take a little break, grab some water, maybe a little walk around to check out what else you have to do, go to the bathroom, whatever, then come back and do another one. You don't want to be too stiff in one position for too long, because even sitting down comfortably, your back is eventually not gonna like, because you don't want to, hinge for too long. So, with that being said, it brings us to our sheet of paper, our handout, with all of our other little rules on it, and things to think of and things to consider here. So the other important thing, well, I'll just go through it with you, but you can read it. We went over our assistive devices, doing it in increments, taking breaks, not being in one position for too long, having appropriate shoes and clothes on, have really good supportive tennis shoes, not like flip-flops that you're gonna trip over, right? All these things that you can think smarter, not harder. You can really plan ahead, have enough time, not be rushing. That's when accidents happen, when you're trying to get too much in too little time and be rushing. So really be mindful of that, be considerate of that. Have your phone right on you in case you need to call for help. If somebody's not home, maybe they can't hear you, I would have a phone right on you. Cell phone, walk around phone, have it right on you. If you have the necklace with the button that gets you help, whatever it is, I really suggest having the phone on you though, for any kind of help that you might need. And then really use things for balance, okay? You're not thinking about it. You're not focused on you. You're focused on other things going on. So your balance might not quite be as good. So I would use the help of assistive devices and things when you need it for balance, okay? Watch your body mechanics. So let's really review your body mechanics, okay? We're gonna break it down here because you can't do too much bending over and twisting and reaching at the same time, okay? So you don't wanna be bending over at your back and reaching for something and twisting all at the same time. That's a big no-no. So you gotta get closer to whatever you're doing, widen your stance, get a little lower so you're not reaching, and angle your toes, okay? Angle your feet and your toes in the direction of whatever you're doing. So if I need to move this big pot right here, right? I'm not gonna move it like this. I'm breaking all the rules. I'm bending my back, I'm twisting, and I'm reaching, right? I'm gonna get real close to it. I'm gonna face it, so my toes are facing it, straddle it, get real close, kind of get low, and then use leverage to move it, okay? Big deal. Even if you're picking up easy little light things like your stool or a pillow, that's when the accidents happen. You've gotta turn your body, turn your toes, face what it is, get close, stick your butt out so your back is flat, get what you need, don't twist, and then move, okay? That is gonna be really important for you to practice, okay? When you hinge from the hips and stick your butt out, you keep your back flat and you avoid this rounding and reaching, which can really start to add up to be a problem on your back. So use your butt muscles by sticking your butt out, get close to it, and then do what you need to do. That's why you're practicing some of these exercises, to get you stronger and more capable to be in those positions for longer periods of time. You got this, right? And you can always take an occupational therapy class once classes are back in action at Sun City with our occupational therapist, Lisa. And she's really good at doing some body mechanics and maneuvers with you in that class. She breaks it up like a joint by joint approach. So now next on the list is really, so what we just talked about is lining yourself up, right? Line up your body, line up what you're doing. Plan ahead so you know what's going on and you have time to think and process what you're doing and how you're doing it. Then be careful with too much repetitive movement. So I said break up your work for different days or different times of the day, but you don't want to do the same exact thing over and over again for too long, like gripping, like the cutting shears, right? Gripping over and over again and cutting for too long in a row can really start to give you like carpal tunnel or the lateral epicondylitis or medial epicondylitis, where the elbow starts hurting because you're gripping so much with all these muscles that it starts pulling on the tendons where it connects to the bone, making you get pain right there. Okay, so just be really careful with too much of the repetitive movements. Same thing with the bending over, bending over, bending over, up and down with the wheeze. That too much in a row is just gonna really hurt your back. So you gotta get down there, get your leverage, do what you need to do, get in, get out, move on to something else that doesn't require that same exact repetitive movement. Wow, this is gonna take some planning, but it's worth it. You can do it. Okay, next on the list is stretching in between. If you start getting a little bit tight or sore or achy, maybe you go through those stretches again, or wherever it feels tight, you do that one particular stretch before you go back at it, because stretching out the muscles in between will really help avoid the cramping and the tendonitis type of injuries that start becoming chronic. All right, a couple more things. So there's going to be a lot of different uneven surfaces and slopes and transitions going from pavement to bark to grass and things that you have to step over. This is where you just really have to be aware, right? You know your garden and your space well. Maybe you change some things to lay it out a little bit safer, a little bit better. But whenever you transition from like asphalt to bark or grass to asphalt or bark to grass, it's all uneven surfaces your body has to get used to. So take your time. Maybe that's the time where you have your assistive device or you hold on to the wall. You just be aware. You be a little extra aware and conscious. Make a conscious effort to remind yourself, oh, I'm stepping on bark now. It's gonna be a little uneven. Oh, I have to pick my feet up a little higher so I don't trip myself in the thick grass or in the thick sand or in the thick dirt. Pick your feet up a little higher, account for some of those slopes and hills, and really strategically plan your body so you're not gonna like fall downhill backwards, right? So place your body maybe facing uphill, kind of leaning into it so that you're over prepared and that you've thought ahead about it. Maybe you don't go on that huge slanted surface and you just say it's not worth it, because it's not worth it. All right, moving on the list. Have good lighting. Make sure it's bright and well lit. You don't want it to be that weird dusk right before dark where it's hard to see. So get things done before that where you have really good lighting. We talked about delegating the harder tasks to other people. And then the last thing here is keeping up with your exercises and stretches regularly so you stay strong for your activity that you want to do. You can't just do the activity that you want to do. You have to do some of these exercises and stretches in between to stay strong for your activity. So really it will complement each other. The activity you're doing, you get some exercise, but also those specific exercises that you're doing on other days in between, not just the gardening, will really help complement your activity of weeding or gardening. All right, now a little good stuff after all your hard work. You get to relax a little bit and stretch a little bit more. So I would grab a towel and you can do this on your bed, which is nice. If you really want to do some of them on the floor, you could, but you know, a bench or a bed would be just fine. So come on up, find a comfy spot for your head and alignment, and then engulf your whole foot in this towel so you have some control over it, and bring it straight up towards the ceiling and hold it for 30 seconds for each stretch, 30 seconds each leg. Now your knee doesn't have to be perfectly straight or perfectly bent. You're just looking for that stretch in the back side of your leg. You don't have to yank on it or pull it very high, just enough to feel that stretch for 30 seconds. Do it on each leg. Okay, then your next one is the calf stretch. So you're still here in this position, but now you need to pull a little bit more on the top part of the towel here so it flexes your foot and ankle and draws your toes back towards you, because now you're interested in stretching the calf and Achilles tendon, so the lower part of the back side of the leg. You guessed it, 30 seconds on each foot. So you can squeeze this other foot in here, do your hamstring stretch first, then don't go so high, flex your foot and slowly come up, for the calf and Achilles tendon stretch. All right, gently, gently, the next stretch. Don't fall out of bed. You're going to let one leg dangle over the side and kind of maneuver. Keep this leg bent or hugged in to protect your back. But you're trying to stretch the top of your thigh and the top of your hip for this quad and hip stretch. 30 seconds. And then you would have to scooch all the way to the other side of the bed to do the other leg, or safely you can sit up and put your head on the other side of the bed and do the other leg. While I'm here, we're also going to do the posture stretch where you just gently let your arm relax and stretch over the edge of the bed, and let your hand move around up and down, your wrist back and forth, maybe even your arm, don't hit anything, but up and down, so you really stretch the front of your shoulder, the front of your pec, and your posture. You're opening up your chest, you're breathing deep to get full breaths of air, to expand your lung capacity, to make you more healthy. So we can go all the way up and over and do the other side. Other leg, let it dangle. Maybe even tuck it on the ground a little bit. Don't fall out of bed. And then when you're done with that, you could do the arm stretch and let it dangle and let it stretch. Now, while you're here, you can do some of the hand and wrist stretches. I'm also going to show you how to do it against the wall, but you want to make sure that your arm is straight. It's not too high for your shoulder, but your elbow is straight, and you just gently pull the wrist back this way and flip it over and pull it back this way. 30 seconds on each. This is to help the gripping and the overuse with the gripping things and tools that you're using that could cause tennis elbow or golfer's elbow, lateral epicondylitis or medial epicondylitis. Let me show you how to do those against a wall. All right, here you are gently against a wall, not too high. Just gently place your hands and split your feet, 1 foot in front, 1 foot in back, so you have leverage and you're not straining anything. So you can just slowly ease into it and flip it over, slowly ease out of it and flip up palms towards you, down, and any angle. Just go easy and gentle. Try to keep that arm as straight as you can and just go easy. Different positions, stretching all the muscles on the front and back side of your arm, your forearm, where it all connects over the wrist and into the elbow. All right, you guys, that was a lot of information, but I think that you can steal some ideas and pull some things from there to remember to help you in the garden, to help you with weeding and feeling a little bit better with your body, hopefully. The last sheet of paper there that you have is some of the exercises to stay strong in between. So we can go through those really quick. It's basic squats, right, for your leg and glute muscles and for getting in those squat type of positions. It's lunges to help you getting up and down off the floor, and the kneeling positions to help you stay strong in the legs and the balance. Some dips, because you have to have some strong arms to do some of this stuff. And, you know, lowering yourself down and getting up off the floor and using your arms in the garden. Got to have strong arms. Some wall push-ups as well, some pushing and pulling for the upper body and the arms. And then the last one is a little balance challenge, since you need a lot of foot and ankle muscles and stability there in your ankles to help you with some of those positions and maneuvers with your coordination and your balance. So let's review these, and then you'll be off and having fun in your own garden. All right, your squats are a lot like the beginning. You can do it with a chair here just in case, where you come back and up, or you can also do it around the back side here of a chair where you're holding on for balance a little bit. And be careful you don't fall backwards or pull the chair over, but you're just dipping your butt back. Stick your booty out, don't let your knees go over your toes. And I'd say about 12, between 10 and 15 of these to really feel the muscles working and strengthening with the squats. Okay, then it is some lunges, some modified lunges. So one foot goes way far forward, one foot way far back, don't slip. The back heel is lifted up off the ground the whole time. The front foot is flat. Get tall, get straight, slowly dip down and up. And remember, you don't have to necessarily go up and down and up and down. If you just want to hold this little down position for maybe about 10-15 seconds, that's going to work the muscles just as well. You'll feel them. You'll feel those muscles burning. Oh yes, you will. Tall posture, don't crouch forward, then switch. Okay, sorry, you can't see me all the way. So front foot way far forward, back foot way far back. The back heel is lifted. Okay, so it looks like that. Get tall and a little dip down. Doesn't have to go low, but you want to be kind of even between both legs. Don't lean all the way forward, okay? And hold on if you need to, or just hold that position. Hold it, feel the burn, squeeze all the muscles, then come up. Woo! All right, here's your dips. I'm dragging the chair all around so you can see me. Sorry, you don't have to be moving equipment quite that much. But here you are in your good sturdy chair, if you have the arm support, and you're gonna press up and do some little dips, okay? Your butt can just maybe lightly touch, or you can bring it forward and lightly go down right in front of the chair. You don't have to go low though, and you don't have to wrench on your shoulders back, okay? So just find a comfortable spot, maybe about 10 to 12 repetitions, and then take a break. Get those arm muscles strong. Then our pushing. So I'm gonna take you by the wall over here. Find a good wall. Maybe one that's not so rough as this, but you get it. Not too high. Just place those hands, walk those feet back a little bit away from the wall, and practice your little dips, little pushes. Pushing slowly down, don't hit your face, and up, and maybe about 10 or so repetitions of those. Now all of these repetitions you can do 1 or 2 or 3 sets, depending on how you're feeling and where you are in your training program. All right, last on the list is your balancing. So let's find a good balance spot, shall we? Pick your feet up when you're walking through all this roughage. Oh, there's the pups. Hey guys. All right, good balance spot. So you can see my feet here. That's not a good balance spot. Find a safe, good balance spot. Okay, that'll work. All right, it's your weight shifting and balancing. Make sure there's no pets around there to distract you or knock you off balance. Make sure there's something nearby just in case if you need to hold on to anything. But you're weight shifting to one side and then balancing for as long as you can. Maybe 10 seconds, maybe 20 seconds, maybe 30. Shift over to the other leg, same thing. Try to lift that leg up, balance. It's close by if you need it, but work on your posture and your balance. Don't lock out your joints, don't lock out your knees, slight bend and balance. Remember 10 to 30 seconds and then switch. Maybe about 5 to 10 times on each leg. The other one is split front to back. So one foot in front, one foot in back, just like you took a step. Same exact thing, weight shift to the front, balance, balance, balance. Weight shift to the back leg. Find the sweet spot, find the center, find your core. Balance, you gotta use your core muscles, right? For everything, the core is always engaged. Balance, balance, balance. Every exercise is a core exercise. Okay, switch, other foot in front, other foot in back. So shift, engage the inner core, squeeze, feel it, and then shift to the back leg. I'm kind of speeding through it, but you get the idea. Hold it as long as you can, maybe up to 30 seconds, you've mastered it. Then you're in control of when you switch to the front leg, not gravity. You control when you switch to the other leg, when you put that foot down, when you rotate. You got it, you guys. Okay, I'm super excited for you to get out into your garden. That's my backyard. I am super lucky with a cool view. But anyways, you know where to find me if you need me at Sun City. My office is at Calaga Gym Lodge. And ask me questions, email me, call me, and good luck and have fun, and I'll see you soon.